welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. It is currently 6 a.m. on Wednesday, May 4th, only a few hours before you're watching this video. And yesterday, I posted my thousandth video ever here on this channel. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to pronounce thousandth. I've posted 1,000 videos here on the channel, which is just a bit insane when I stop to think about it. We've been doing content for just over 3 years now, and the amount of time and work that has gone into those 1,000 videos is just insane. And it's not counting the extra things on other channels, traveling to conventions, learning games, playing with friends, just all of the logistics that go into content creation. But I just want to do some quick math because I actually find it really interesting. I have posted 1,000 videos over the course of the last 3 years. On average, every video takes approximately 8 hours to produce. That's 8,000 hours that have gone into just the content you can watch right now on Quackalope. Divided by 24 hours in the day, and over the last 3 years, I have spent 333 or 335 hours just on content creation. Now, that's not all me. Shira's helped with the editing, over the course of the last 8 months. I've had friends come in and learn and teach and invest in games with me. But at the end of the day, from ground zero, I've been in nearly every video we've posted. I've been the driving force behind Quackalope, been learning how to direct, and honestly, the stuff that Devin and Shira have done have helped the channel grow to where it is now. But it's also opened the door for me to continue doing other things here on the platform. Filming other videos, doing Patreon exclusive content, learning new games, and doing more stylized and deeper dives. High quality B-roll, whatever nonsense. So, I've spent 1/3 of the last 3 years, one entire year, just dedicated to this channel. And that's cool. But a thousand videos is a lot. And there's a lot of missteps that I've made along the way, a lot of things I've learned in the process, and that's what I thought this video would be about. Just a quick-ish, as quick as I can be, conversation with you about the mistakes I've made along the way. I mean, we could start with the hairdo and the hairline across the course of the years, but we're not going to go quite as shallow as that. I want this conversation to be a view into content creation, maybe helpful to those that are pursuing stuff in this space, and maybe just a bridge to those that don't understand the logistics and the mistakes and the stuff that goes into creating content here on the channel. So, let's talk about the mistakes I've made along the way. First, and probably one of the biggest mistakes, is going to be my attempt or obsession with trying to produce quality over quantity. Now, this isn't a cut and dry thing. I mean, there is an argument to be made for high quality content on YouTube. You have to look different. You have to look new. You have to do something that stands out. And cinematography, videography, that's kind of where my skill set lies. But I have been bogged down and missed deadlines and not covered so much stuff because I've been trying to do things like multiple camera angles and B-roll on clips and just overwhelmed myself with a desire to do things as perfect as possible, even if I'm not as good as a lot of people that do this type of stylized stuff. I have tried to do the best that I could, and I've sacrificed the art of just creating content, of sitting down and having conversations with you like this. I mean, this is a good example of one of those things where I just wanted to talk. I wanted to ruminate on the past 1,000 videos, the last 3 years of my life, and the things that I've learned through that process. And this isn't going to be trimmed or edited or cut or adjusted. And back in the day, it would have been, or it would have had to have been. I wanted things to be clean. I remember going through the gameplay videos that I used to do, and I'd cut out every single, like, 10 or 15 second gap where someone wasn't talking. And maybe it made a more entertaining video. But it also meant back in the day I was spending 16 hours on a single edit. And that meant I could only get out a video or two a week, and that was overwhelming, and it was a lot of work, and it just occupied all my time. And now, sitting down and having a conversation sometimes elicits better results and more engagement. And part of the art of content creation is just putting yourself out there and figuring out what people enjoy. Another mistake. Chasing the hotness. We all understand how both YouTube, the news cycle, and content creation works. I mean, you've been caught up into the Kickstarter trend of backing every project, I'm sure, if you're watching this channel. I've been there a few times myself. But there's this element of that when it comes to content creation, where you're always trying your best to get coverage on everything that's new. And yeah, it gets better views sometimes. But then sometimes it doesn't at all. Like, surprisingly so. Like, no one cares. Especially when we were just starting out. I would pull all-nighters. I would work myself to the bone for a couple thousand views, thinking that, like, this would be the thing that would break us out. And honestly, nothing has been the thing on this channel that has broken us out. Like, compared to some other channels that have over 100,000 views and a few videos, we don't here at Quackalope. Our highest viewed videos is a top 10 list, and then a series of rules you might miss and gameplay videos and content like that. And some of it was exclusive, and a lot of it wasn't. A lot of it was just leaning into what we as a game group enjoy. And one of the things I'm still learning as a content creator here on the channel is the balance between when is something in the zeitgeist, when is something worth talking about, worth pulling an all-nighter for, which is rarer and rarer nowadays, versus rare and rare being contextual to my lifestyle, versus when is something just fun and a classic, and when is there a community that is out there that hasn't been sent or given content for a long time, and how do you tap into that? How do you engage with that? I think we've spent too much time in our cycle focusing on and pinning as much of the new exciting stuff as we could, and it has helped with growth, but there is a transition to that. There is an adjustment to that. And I don't think it's good for a channel to always only consistently do that. Negativity. It is really hard on the internet, especially as you grow and you have more and more people talking at you or talking to you. It becomes increasingly difficult to not read and dwell on the comments. Like, there's a comment on Facebook just the other day. Someone had posted up a video, shared the link, and the first response was, I hate that guy. And I'm like, all right. So I responded, thanks, and then it started a conversation. What you'll find with negativity is most of the time people just don't realize you're on the other end of it. They don't realize that you're reading it and are small enough or viable enough to respond. And they'll usually be kind and generous and courteous in person or even online if you engage with them in a fair way. But engaging with them is arguably a problem. I think any content creator, any person on social media, any person in the digital space has to learn at some point how to tune out and turn off and just disengage from the increasing negativity. And I have not been the best at that. Not all the time. I'm usually pretty good at laughing it off, but it does sit with you. Posting schedule. I should have, a long time ago, gotten Quackalope onto a routine, consistent posting schedule. And it wasn't until Shira and I were doing stuff together, like the weekly vlog that we do on Saturdays. It wasn't until then that we were even able to get some of the content here on a posting schedule. And we're getting closer and closer to that. But 2 years or 3 years of trying is a long time to know that I should be on a schedule and been unable to accomplish that, unable to make that a reality. And part of that's just my lifestyle, part of that is just how I approach things and engage with the world, and I admit that I am a individual that is hard to get onto a schedule. I excel at being spur of the moment and last minute and always ready to go and overworking. And that doesn't elicit a consistent review video every Wednesday and a consistent top 10 every Thursday and a consistent vlog every weekend. And for a channel like YouTube, consistency that the audience can rely on is important. And we should have been doing that and should be doing that more and more as we go forward. Formats and ideas. I have let so many good ideas, now ideas are cheap, they really are, but I have let so many good ideas that I've started exploring just drop because I haven't had the bandwidth or time or team around me in order to pursue them. Right for you, wrong for you should be a weekly series. Confirmation bias should still exist on the channel. Gameplays of Root and Scythe and Wingspan should be supported content that just doesn't ever go away or distance. Kickstarter roundups and deep dives, review videos, 10-minute or less segments, like all these things that do well should be things that we continue to do. And we have a whole backlog of them, and I have a whole list of them, and this notebook is filled to the brim with good ideas. And good ideas are easy to come by and hard to execute on, and I'm hoping that I can tie some of them down. But when you have something that is timely or fits into the cultural current zeitgeist, like fits into the trends that are happening on the platform you're on, you should pursue those. And when you have something that does well or does decent or people respond positively to, you should continue those and then iterate on them and then figure out how to adapt them. But instead, I've done a lot more of doing things new and re-experimenting and reapproaching than I have being consistent and continuing to do the things that people enjoy already. Communication. Probably one of the biggest errors I've made as a content creator with the fans and as a content creator with the publishers. I mean, we have a part-time, Devin is here on the team to help me respond to people, to get packages shipped out when we have people that purchase stuff from our store or giveaways that need to go out, to respond to publishers, to schedule meetings and events and games to be played, to track what's actually arrived that we're responsible for covering, to talk with you all. I mean, I have a pile of unread messages, and it's not that I don't want to read and engage with them, but I always try to spend a little bit, maybe too much time engaging with every single one individually, and it exhausts me and bogs me down. And one of the things I've discovered is, like, I'll have 50 unread messages on Facebook. Right now, I think I have close to 100 disengaged texts. I handed out my number at one point, which has been great. It's really not been a problem. But I haven't been able to respond to everyone, and I feel bad about that. Or, like, 30 messages on Patreon, which has the worst communication system of any platform I've ever done anything on, except the ones that don't have any. And yeah, I'll start responding to 50 people on Facebook. And then if I don't do it at 3 a.m. or the middle of the night, they'll start responding back. And I'll get into a cycle where, like, I'm tied up for the next 3 to 4 hours, or else I look like a real dick because I said something to you and then never responded to the next thing you said to me. So instead I get into the cycle where it's like, I say something at 3 a.m. and then I'll respond a week later to the response that I got from that. And I haven't quite figured out how to fix that. Like, the communication thing is a big balancing act. It's a big issue because it's part of my job, but it also pulls me away from my job. And I kind of have I can really be focused on one thing. I can be learning a game. I can be reading a book. I can be cleaning the house. I can be responding to people on Messenger. But I don't really do a lot of other things. Like, I'm not the type of person that sits down with a movie and works at the same time, unless I'm editing, like, photography, which is a little bit of a mindless activity anyway. And I can clean the house and listen to an audiobook, but even then, I find that I clean slower because I'll pause and just want to listen. So I haven't figured out how to like balance all those little other puzzles. Health. I have not, over the last 3 years, taken as good care of myself as I should have. I need to go get a physical, go to the doctor, get checked up. I need to get on health insurance. I need to get dental insurance. And like, I've broken, 2 teeth while filming videos, like bite down on a gummy. Like there's a root video at one point, the first year of filming, where I just had a filling that just, wore away and broke a tooth. And it was at the end of the video. And I was just like, we wrapped it up. I could go find that video though. Like we wrapped up the video, and then immediately afterwards, I just turned to everyone. I was like, I was going to drop the F-bomb, but I should and need to exercise more, spend more time outside, spend more time relaxing, spend more time just enjoying, being young and healthy-ish, and what we have the pleasure of doing. I push myself hard sometimes, and I love doing that. I love what I do. I love every second of work. But I also, I enjoy going for hikes, and I enjoy watching birds, and I enjoy swimming, and road trips, and stuff that isn't related to work as well. And sometimes it's really hard for me to, remember that and pull away and do that stuff. Covering games. The amount of titles that we have at the house that we are responsible for covering, that publishers have sent our way, is kind of ridiculous. And we are slowly working through them, but more continue to come. And so it's a fascinating thing. We, in a lot of ways, have grown faster than I've been able to handle and manage, which is a great problem to have, but it doesn't mean it's not a problem. With the pandemic and moving multiple times and just the escalation of life, it's been fascinating because I'll get a game in, just a random title, something that I've personally purchased or a publisher sent me that I really want to cover, and 6 months will go by, and it'll still be sitting right there on the shelf, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, 5 dozen other contracts and projects that had hard timelines and things that, so much stuff just came in, and a lot of time has passed. I don't even know where this last month went to. I have a list in this book, and over on Notion, of all the stuff that I need to, work through that I'm still adding to. And it's a lot, and I haven't figured this out yet. I'm trying to figure out the balance of stuff going forward. There's a chance I just switch the relationship to be something where it's I only purchase games. Don't send me anything. I will buy your game if I want to cover it. But that's also kind of difficult. That's a big expense for a channel that is relying on every source of funding, Patreon, YouTube advertisements, and contracts with publishers to manage and grow and function. And so, I don't know, but I do have to figure out, if we do well, if we continue to grow, if we escalate beyond where we are, what is the actual relationship I want to have? What is the defined thing I want? And if I could pick, I guess that's a good way to look at it. If I could pick the context of my situation, I would love to be YouTube and Patreon reliant, to only have contracts with sites and things that are outside of the board game space, which are not big enough for at the moment. And then I would love to leverage that success into something where it's I reach out to publishers, but I have the caveat that I will purchase your game. But we would have to be, 200,000 to 500,000 on YouTube to do something like that, in terms of scaling the success that we have now to something that could sustain and could do that, which is a big ask. It's a long way to go. Popular content. YouTube is a site, social media is a site that's full of trends, right? TikToks and shorts and the Ice Bucket Challenge, just all these things that happen here on the platform. And I should have earlier and should still pursue those types of popular content. Top 10 lists, for instance. Like, I didn't make my first top 10 list till last year, 2 years into content creation. But people enjoy watching it. And I was trying to be the stubborn person that was like, I only want gameplays to be the most popular content on my channel. Well, great. I got gameplays. I have gameplays to be the most popular stuff on my channel. And guess what? It's a quarter of the views of other channels smaller than me. And we've done well. But I have blindly ignored or rejected or been stubborn about stuff that just works on YouTube. Stuff that draws attention, stuff that pulls people in, stuff that encourages people to click and engage and continues retention time. Just the game of YouTube, right? So if you're watching this and you're a content creator or anything, like do the stuff that seems obvious. It's obvious for a reason to start with. Procrastination. I don't know if any of you other people struggle with this, but like, I am the best. I'm a hard worker, but I'm the best procrastinator. I like deadlines. I like hard deadlines. I like being under pressure, right? I work constantly and diligently under pressure, but when that pressure releases, I'll just sleep for 15 hours. I will crash and get exhausted. And so I find that like I'm always delaying stuff and always pushing stuff right up to the line to where like I have to squeeze to get it done. And I've been doing that since elementary school, middle school. Like, it's just a personality thing. And you know, maybe I could have learned better around it or something. But yeah, I need to get ahead. I need to get ahead bad so that you can take a step back and see the big picture and plan where you're going. And then the final thing that I have not done, that I should do more, is just direct collaborations inside and outside of the board game space. And we have a lot of people that come and join us. Nearly every video has a new guest on it nowadays, which I love. But I need to start reaching out to people that are in the 20, 30, 40,000 subscriber range outside of the board game space. People that, you know, are open to doing cool, weird, wacky things. Artists and musicians and ant farmers and Pokemon experts. And just figure out cool ways to continue bridging that gap. Continue expanding our hobby space. Just one step at a time. Collaboration is probably one of the most underrated things that YouTubers just overlook. It's not about getting anyone else on your channel. It's not about trading or grabbing anyone. It's about lifting everyone else up. Like, you need a group of people that you're bringing with you, and they're bringing you with them to be successful in any of these type of spaces. Like, it's very rare that anyone makes it just on their own leverage and power. And so I think we're seeing that more and more with like new content creators, this new wave of content creators, just people who are investing in each other and understand kind of the culture of YouTube. But it's something that like I need to be more organized and more purposeful about, even though we do a lot of it. It's one of those things I don't think you can ever quite do enough of. So that's lessons learned. That's as far as I can tell. For me, the biggest things that I've kind of misstepped along the way, the stuff that I am trying to rectify or correct or still working on to this day, even after 1,000 videos being produced. If you've watched to this point, please make sure you're subscribed. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you enjoy here on the channel. Let us know why you're here, where you're from, what board games you love, why you tune into Quackalope. I'm going to get this edited. I'm going to get a thumbnail ready for it. And then I'm going to clean off my bed from a pile of board games because we just did a top 10 list about games that you should play with people that you hate. And I'm going to crash and I'm going to go to sleep for a bit and then get back to it. All right. That's a video.